Hello Aquarius, welcome to your weekly horoscope for Monday the 10th of June through to Sunday the 16th of June. Okay my loves, let's jump into it. So, major T-square going on at the beginning of your week between Pluto in your first house of Aquarius, Mars who's just moved into your fourth house in Taurus, and the moon in your seventh house in Leo. You guys are having the pressure put on you to finally follow your goddamn heart, Aquarius. Not only do we have that major T-square, but we have the Sun and Mercury making their Cazimi in your fifth house this week and making a square over to Saturn as well in your second house. So it's definitely a time for you to be in your heart. I feel like this is not the time for Aquarius to be cold. Pluto is in your first house now, it's in your sign. So it's saying we need to change up the way we've been doing our Aquarian shit. We need to change up the way that we've been going about relationships and just so many things. With the fifth house being so activated for you this season, you know, you got Venus, you got Mercury, you got Sun, you got Jupiter, all in the fifth house. So it really is about you finding love at the moment and being in a state of love and being in a state of warmth and happiness and abundance. There is a lot more abundance available to you than I feel like you realize. And these squares between the fifth house and the second house with Saturn is that if you can actually follow your heart, if you can actually really be in this beautiful vibration of authentic love and, you know, warmth and decency, then it's actually going to help you to sort of find what it is that you need and help you to create the resources that you really do need at the moment. With Saturn in your second house, it is a little bit like money is tight at the moment, and money is probably, you know, undergoing some construction. Let's just say it like that. So, you know, your resources are really coming up this week for you to pay attention. We are going to be having the moon move through your seventh house, your eighth house, and oppose Neptune in your second house. So this is definitely going to be bringing up money stuff, and it could be bringing up shadows for sure around money. Shadows that you have or shadows that other people might have. But it's definitely not a week to be, you know, asking for, you know, with Saturn in your second house, it kind of is about like you needing to put in the work for your own resources at the moment. It's not a week to be asking so much for help, even though you might be feeling like help is what you need. And I'm not saying don't ask for help. Like if you need fucking help, ask for help. But like this is about you needing to be also industrious and innovative with what you have that can bring you more, if you know what I mean. With the moon being in this opposition in the eighth house, it's kind of like emotions, and because she's making a conjunction with Lilith, it's definitely like you being maybe even like obsessed with with other people. Maybe someone else isn't providing for you the money that you feel like you deserve or the money that you feel like you require, and that's like triggering you. We have the bully archetype coming out, so it could definitely be triggering you to be in a bit of a feisty communication energy this week, especially with Saturn in the second house. This is throat chakra stuff, so Saturn being there could have you in a little bit during this opposition of like, you know, a fiery, feisty, just like especially too actually with the Sun and Mercury making their square with Saturn. Whoo, it's pretty much like, with it being in the fifth house, it's like you have this fiery, explosive like authority to your voice and to your communication style this week, so don't overdo it, you know. The light attributes of the bully is highlights your tendency to intimidate others, helps you confront the inner fears that bully you. That's right, you've got a lot of fears that are actually bullying you, and I feel like you might take that out on others through not bullying other people, but just like saying harsh things. Shadow attribute is conceals deep fears behind verbal or physical abuse. So that's definitely coming up. There's definitely an energy this week coming up where it's like, watch your mouth. Don't be being too feisty to, you know, with Mars in your fourth house, maybe to family members, maybe to your mom in general, in particular. But it's more so you needing to be in a playful energy rather than being in this really intense, because there's two different like realms you could go down this week, Aquarius. It's like the fifth house sort of joyful Gemini, woohoo! I'm gonna be like a little bit silly and a bit more happy and a bit more uplifted, but I'm also experiencing these squares to Saturn, so you could also find yourself sort of going down the rabbit hole in like 1 minute being like, oh, I feel really good, and the next minute being like, oh, everything feels so heavy. You know, we have the beggar archetype coming out that says light attributes confronts empowerment at the level of physical survival, awakens the spiritual authority of humility, compassion, and self-esteem. Shadow attribute is dependence on others to the exclusion of effort. And that's very much that 8th house moon Lilith conjunction that we're going to be having this week is, you know, depending on others to the exclusion of effort. Is there more that you could be doing? Is there more resources that you could be opening yourself up to? Are there more avenues that you could be exploring, rather than getting overwhelmed by not having enough and being in this, like, you know, beggar energy, really? Like, this is the energy of homeless people. Maybe that's a fear. Maybe that's a huge fear that you actually have, is being homeless. Massive, actually. For sure, with Mars moving into your 4th house and making this T-square, this could be things coming up around where you're living, and that really opening up a lot of anxiety. We have gossip also coming out that says awakens consideration for the feelings of others, honoring trust. Shadow attributes thrives on the power of passing on private or secret information and betraying confidences. So there's definitely a lot coming out around your voice. Your voice is very, very strong this week, especially with these squares to Saturn. So use your voice for good rather than hurt, you know, harming anybody. This is definitely a week where your voice is able to sort of like cast spells, you know, it always is, but this is an extremely potent time for you. And so don't let yourself, with this opposition with the moon and Neptune, don't let yourself get stuck in an emotional whirlwind that, you know, I feel like your own fears, like gossip, like I feel like in your own brain you think of the gossip that other people would be saying about you that you don't even hear, but you literally picture it in your own brain and use that to bully you yourself. Like, I feel like an example would be like, you lost your job and, like, who gives a fuck? You lost your job, whatever. It wasn't a good job anyway, and you're just going to find a new one. But you can't let it go because you're constantly thinking about what everybody else must be saying about you, what your family members are saying about you, what your old friends are saying about you, all that sort of stuff. Like, those fears, those voices in your mind are bullies, essentially, at this point. We have autumn, release the old and rest. Mars is in your 4th house now, and he hates being in... I mean, it's a bit of a double dose for you guys because he doesn't like being in Taurus and he doesn't like being in the 4th house because it's Cancer. So this is a time for you to not be trying to, you know, overdo things with this seer, see beyond the current situation. The situation that you're currently in could definitely be triggering to you, especially with the living situation, the home front, the family. It could be very triggering, but this is a time for you to rest. This is a time for you to rest the voice box even. Maybe like stop talking so much. I feel like this is an energy of needing to like the daily horoscope I did today, respond rather than react. Don't be just, you know, getting upset and then just unleashing the wrath of your voice on everybody and screaming the house down, you know. This is about Ace of Swords. This is about giving yourself a moment to breathe so that you can actually receive a better idea, a better way forward. This is epiphany energy. So, you know, even though the moon is making this major T-square at the start of the week with Pluto and Mars, it is going to be making a really beautiful sextile and trine to the north and south node. So that being in your 3rd house and in your 9th house is really about you getting comfortable in the environment that you're now in. With the moon in reverse, this is you not giving yourself over to fear, because fear is definitely going to be coming up this week, and Pluto Mars squares always create fear anyway. They show us, and with it being in your 4th house and your 1st house, they show us where they're showing you where you feel a little bit inadequate. It feels like you feel inadequate and you feel like you don't have you know, the skills that I feel like you think you need, where the reality is that you do have the skills, you do have so much to give that you don't realize, but this moon in reverse is saying that you don't quite see it. The fears, I mean, I just heard Wash It Away by Narco Bear, so that's gonna be an extra song for you guys, but you know, this is washing away the anxiety, the fear, the uncertainty, all that sort of stuff. And not like washing it away in a spiritual bypassy, like get away from me type vibe. This is you actually like feeling into these emotions and letting them be processed. You actually, you know, facing the music. It feels like when it comes to your living situation, that's what you're the most, you have the most desires jam-packed around. So, you know, start to dream about what it is that where you want to live, how you want to live. Queen of Wands and the Lovers is saying that you being in your loving, beautiful Aquarian high vibe, warm ass energy is going to bring you the manifestations that you truly actually want. It's going to bring you connections. It's going to bring you partnership. This is about being in a really beautiful, beautiful, open energy, Aquarius, that is hard for you because your opposition is Leo. And Leo is the light. That's the heart. It's the warmth. Aquarius is the cold, you know, it's a bit more chilly. So this week is about you opening up a little bit more to this sun in your 5th house and being in a more playful, fun, warm energy. You just keep getting, like, I literally just keep hearing the word warm for you guys. We have the Addict coming out. Light attribute helps you recognize and confront addictive behavior. Shadow attributes compromises integrity and honesty, allows an addictive pattern to have authority over your inner spirit. So you do have an addictive pattern here with something. It seems like it could possibly, you know, have to do with just an emotional addiction that you have to fear, an emotional addiction that you have to overwhelm, and maybe even like dark stuff, like just going down the rabbit hole and getting really attached to shadows, you know? This is not really a week where it's like getting all absorbed in your shadows. This is about you with the North Node being in your 3rd house, is about you just sort of simplifying things and getting creative and getting excited and getting, you know, opening up as well to like more people. And like I said, not relying on other people resource-wise, but just relying on people for maybe, you know, mental stimulation and conversation and inspiration and just love. You need to be connecting with other people in order to experience love, you know? We can't just be loving on ourselves constantly and being like, yay! You know, that's love, self-love, yeah, but humans need relationships. We literally can't function without them. So, being in relationship this week, being in connection, having, like I swear I told you last week, like, can you go on a fucking date? Can you go on an adventure and go do something fun? A local adventure, something close to you. It doesn't have to be extraordinary, but, you know, just doing something that is going to bring you into this like restorative energy, because when you're in the restorative energy, you're able to actually receive the insights that you need instead of feeling bullied by your own fears all the time and feeling like you're literally a beggar, like you're about to end up homeless or something because you don't have enough money. Okay? Aquarius, I'm going to leave this reading there. I love you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in. If you did vibe with and enjoy this reading, please do give it a like because it helps to spread these videos to beautiful other Aquarian souls out there. If you want to book a personal tarot or astrology reading with me, you can do that through the links down below. I would like to thank your angels, your ancestors, your higher self, your spirit guides, all the beautiful benevolent beings that are surrounding you and I in all moments for allowing me to receive and to deliver this message to you. Make sure you check out your channeled songs as well as your other placements, and I will see you in the next reading next week, Aquarius. Peace.